I heard it before I understood it. The courtroom had that kind of hum, low-ceiling fluorescence, the click of a pen on laminate, someone shifting in the gallery behind me. I was sitting 3 rows back, just another witness name on the docket for my father's divorce. The air smelled like old carpet and stress sweat. I'd shown up because the subpoena said I had to. I didn't expect to hear my mother's name. And I definitely didn't expect to hear what came next. Tamara's attorney leaned forward, her reading glasses catching the overhead light. "Mrs. Hartman, can you clarify the source of the $95,000 down payment on the Lake Superior property purchased in July 2016? Tamara smoothed her blazer. Her nails were perfect French manicure, not a chip. She looked right at the judge, voice steady, like she was ordering coffee. "We used money from Greg's daughter's college fund. She wasn't going to use all of it anyway, and we needed the down payment." The air left my lungs. My folder, just a thin manila thing I'd brought with old paperwork, slipped an inch on my lap. I caught it. The overhead light buzzed. Someone coughed. The judge stopped writing mid-word and looked up, his pen hovering over the notepad. "My name is Olivia, and I've survived most of my life by staying useful and staying quiet. This is the story of how my father stole my mother's gift to me, how a divorce exposed what silence had buried, and how the law gave me back more than money. It gave me permission to walk away. Before I go any further, tell me where you're listening from, so I know I'm not the only one who learned that family can be the first place trust dies." To understand how I ended up in that courtroom with my hands shaking and my mother's trust documents in my lap, I have to go back a bit. My mother died when I was 12. Ovarian cancer. Stage 4 by the time they caught it. It was fast and it was brutal, and when it was over, my father remarried within 2 years. I don't remember him crying at the funeral. I remember him on his phone in the hospital hallway the day before she died, already moving forward, already detaching. My mother had been careful. She'd set up an irrevocable education trust 3 months before she got too sick to sign anything. $127,000. It was supposed to be mine, untouchable, managed by my father as trustee until I turned 18 and went to college. She told me about it once, near the end, when I was sitting on the edge of her hospital bed. The mattress was one of those medical ones that crinkled when you moved. She held my hand, her fingers cold and thin. "You're going to do something important, Livy. Something that helps people. This will help you get there. Your dad knows. It's all written down." I believed her. I kept believing her even after she was gone. When I was 15, my father married Tamara. She worked in marketing, drove a white Lexus, and redecorated our house within 6 months. My mother's quilts disappeared. The photos came down from the mantel. I spent most of high school working part-time at a bakery, saving everything, staying out of the way. I graduated 3rd in my class. I got into the state nursing program on my grades alone. When I turned 18 and got my acceptance letter, I sat down with my father in his home office. The room smelled like leather and Tamara's candles, something called Coastal Breeze. He didn't look at me when he said it. He was scrolling through his phone, half distracted. The fund took a hit. Bad investments during the recession. The market was rough for a few years. "There's nothing left, kiddo." "I'm sorry." I didn't ask questions. I didn't demand to see statements. I just nodded, said okay, and started filling out loan applications that night. I worked 2 jobs all through nursing school, one as a clinic receptionist during the day, one stocking shelves at a big box store 3 nights a week. I lived on instant ramen and cold coffee. My classmates went to bars on Fridays. I went to work. I graduated with my BSN at 23 and $45,000 in debt, already feeling 10 years older. I thought that was just how it went. I thought I was doing what my mother would have wanted, pushing through, not complaining, not making things harder for anyone. I didn't know they'd bought the lake house the summer after I started school. I didn't know what a down payment looked like when it's made with someone else's future. I didn't know my father had lied to my face while my mother's words were still echoing in my head. The subpoena came to my condo on a Tuesday in late March. It was snowmelt season in Minneapolis, gray slush everywhere, that wet dog smell in the hallways, everyone exhausted from a winter that wouldn't quit. I opened the envelope standing in my kitchen, still in scrubs from a 12-hour pediatric shift. Gregory Hartman versus Tamara Hartman. Dissolution of marriage. Hennepin County Family Court. I was listed as a potential witness regarding family finances and asset history. I called my father from my car the next morning. He picked up on the third ring, voice distracted. Livy. Hey, what's up? I got a subpoena. For your divorce hearing. A pause. Yeah, that's just Tamara's lawyer. Standard procedure. She's trying to prove I hid money or something. You don't know anything about that. Just show up, answer honestly, and it'll be fine. Do I need a lawyer? No. God, no. You're not a party to this. You're just a witness. It's fine. I said okay. I always said okay. The hearing was set for late April. I took the morning off, put on the one blazer I owned, navy, slightly too big, and drove to the Hennepin County Courthouse through morning traffic. The building was all concrete and glass, security lines that took 20 minutes. The courtroom was smaller than I expected, wood paneling that looked fake, bad blue carpet with coffee stains near the door, a judge who looked tired before the session even started. My father sat with his attorney on the left side, both of them in dark suits. Tamara sat with hers on the right. She looked exactly like she always did, polished, composed, ready for battle. I sat in the gallery with the folder I'd grabbed from my closet that morning. Inside were copies of my mother's will, the trust paperwork I'd found in a box after she died, and a single letter she'd written me before she got too sick. I don't know why I brought them. Maybe I thought someone would ask. Maybe I just wanted proof she'd existed, that she'd tried to protect me. The hearing started with assets. Tamara's attorney, a woman in her 50s with short gray hair and a voice like gravel, went through everything methodically. The primary residence, purchased 2014, valued at $580,000, remaining mortgage $320,000. The retirement accounts. The cars. The joint checking. My father's attorney objected twice to phrasing. The judge waved him off both times. Then she paused, flipping a page. Let's discuss the Lake Superior cabin. Purchased in July 2016 for $385,000. Current value approximately $420,000. Mrs. Hartman, do you recall the source of the down payment? Tamara nodded. Yes. We used funds Greg had in a trust account. Can you elaborate? It was originally set up for his daughter from his first marriage. For college. But by the time we bought the cabin, she was already in school and managing fine. Greg explained that she didn't need all of it, and we'd been looking for a place up north for years. The money was just sitting there. My father's attorney stood. Objection. This is speculation about. The judge held up one hand. I want to hear this. Continue, Mrs. Hartman. Tamara's voice didn't waver. Greg said it made sense. Olivia, his daughter, wasn't going to use the full amount anyway. Student loans were covering most of her costs. We needed the down payment, and the fund wasn't performing well. It just made financial sense at the time. The judge's pen stopped. He set it down carefully, deliberately. He looked at my father. Mr. Hartman, was this an irrevocable trust? My father shifted in his seat. His tie was burgundy, too tight at the collar. He glanced at his attorney, who was scribbling something on a legal pad. Then back at the judge. Your Honor, the trust was set up years ago, back when my first wife was ill. The investments didn't perform as expected. By the time my daughter turned 18, the market had. That's not what I asked. The judge's voice didn't rise. It didn't have to. The room went completely still. Was the trust established as an irrevocable trust? My father's jaw tightened. A muscle twitched near his temple. Yes. I stood up. I don't remember deciding to. My legs just moved. I walked to the railing, my folder pressed against my ribs, and caught the clerk's attention. My voice was quieter than I wanted it to be, almost shaking. Excuse me. I have the documents. From my mother's estate. The original trust papers. The judge looked at me for the first time. His eyes were sharp, pale blue behind wire-rimmed glasses. You're the daughter? Yes, Your Honor. Olivia Hartman. Approach. I walked forward. The carpet made no sound. I handed the folder to the clerk, a middle-aged woman with kind eyes who took it gently, like she knew it mattered. The judge opened it. The room was so quiet I could hear the pages turning, the HVAC kicking on somewhere overhead, someone's stomach growling 3 rows back. He read for 3 minutes. Maybe 4. Then he closed the folder, removed his glasses, and rubbed the bridge of his nose. When he looked up, his face was set. We're taking a 30-minute recess. When we return, I'm ordering a full forensic accounting review of this trust account. If what I'm reading here is accurate, we're looking at a clear breach of fiduciary duty and possible criminal conversion of funds. Tamara went pale. Her attorney leaned over, whispering something urgent. My father stared straight ahead, his hands flat on the table. He didn't look at me. Not once. Court is in recess. The gavel came down. I walked out into the hallway on shaking legs and called the one person I knew would tell me the truth, my mother's older sister, Aunt Jeannie. She'd moved to Duluth after my mom died, worked as a paralegal for 32 years, and had always been the family's quiet backbone. I told her everything, the hearing, Tamara's testimony, what the judge said. She was silent for a long time. Then she said, voice low and furious, "Your mother made that trust irrevocable for a reason, Livy. She knew your father. She knew he'd try to touch it if he could. She was protecting you from him, even after she was gone." I should have asked questions, I said. My voice cracked. When I was 18, I should have. You were 18 and grieving, she cut in. He was your father. You trusted him. That's not your failure. That's his. She paused. I heard her dog bark in the background, the sound of a door closing. Here's what you do. You get a copy of that forensic report the second it's filed. You document everything, dates, amounts, what he told you, what the trust actually said. If he tries to call you or manipulate you, let it go to voicemail and save every recording. Don't let him rewrite this story. I started that night. I pulled my loan statements, every semester, every disbursement, every interest charge. I printed my old work schedules, the pay stubs I'd kept in a cardboard box under my bed for some reason I couldn't articulate. I wrote down what I remembered him saying in his office that day when I was 18, the exact phrasing, bad investments. Market was rough. Nothing left. I made a folder on my laptop and labeled it evidence. I pulled up my old bank statements showing transfers from my bakery job, my clinic job, my overnight stocking shifts. I calculated hours. 47 hours a week on average for 4 years straight, while carrying a full course load. I found the letter my mother had written me. It was in a Ziploc bag, the ink slightly faded but still readable. My sweet Livy, I won't be there to see you graduate, to help you move into your first apartment, to watch you become the person I already know you are. But I'm leaving you something that will help. Your dad knows about the trust. He has all the paperwork. It's yours. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Be brave. Be kind. But don't be a doormat. I love you forever. Mom. I read it 3 times. Then I took a photo of it and added it to the folder. 2 weeks later, the forensic accountant's report came through. Aunt Jeannie helped me request a copy from the court file as an interested party. It was 32 pages, dense with tables and transaction records, but the executive summary was brutal. On August 14, 2016, Gregory Hartman, acting as trustee, withdrew $127,000 from an irrevocable education trust established by deceased grantor Linda Marie Hartman on March 3, 2009. Funds were transferred to a joint checking account held by Gregory and Tamara Hartman and used within 72 hours for the down payment on a residential property located at address Lake Superior, Minnesota. No educational expenses were documented or submitted to support the withdrawal. The trust terms explicitly restrict use to tuition, fees, books, housing, and educational living expenses for the beneficiary. The withdrawal violated Minnesota Statutes 501c.0813 and constitutes conversion under state law. Amount owed to beneficiary, including statutory interest calculated at 4.5% annually, $184,000. I sat at my kitchen table and read it twice. Then I read it a 3rd time. I felt something shift, not anger exactly. Clarity. Cold, surgical clarity. Part of me had been waiting for this. My father called that night. I didn't answer. He left a voicemail. Livy, we need to talk about this court thing. There's context you don't understand. Call me back. I saved it. I didn't call back. He called again the next day. Olivia, come on. Don't shut me out. This is more complicated than it looks. Saved. No callback. Tamara sent an email. Subject line, family. I deleted it without opening it. Aunt Jeannie came down from Duluth the weekend before the next hearing. We sat in my living room with printouts spread across the coffee table, trust documents, loan records, the forensic report, my mother's letter. She was 71, sharp as ever, her reading glasses on a beaded chain around her neck. She picked up my mother's letter and read it, then set it down gently. She knew, Jeannie said quietly. Your mom. She knew he'd try something. That's why she made it irrevocable. That's why she put it in writing. Why didn't you say something? I asked. After she died. If you knew. I didn't know he'd stolen it, she said, voice hard. I knew he was capable of it. There's a difference. And by the time you were 18, I was trying not to interfere. I thought, she stopped, shook her head. I thought he'd do the right thing. I was wrong. She looked at me. You ready for Friday? I nodded. I was. The next hearing was on a Friday morning, 9 a.m. The same courtroom, same judge, but this time I wasn't just a witness. I was listed as an interested party and trust beneficiary. My father's attorney tried 3 separate arguments. First, the trust language was ambiguous about timing and use. Second, my father had acted in good faith based on financial advice. Third, I'd completed my education successfully anyway, so no measurable harm occurred. The judge listened to all 3 without expression. Then he leaned forward, folded his hands, and spoke directly to my father's attorney. Counselor, let me be very clear. Your client withdrew $127,000 from an irrevocable trust established by his deceased wife for the sole educational benefit of their minor child. He used those funds, without beneficiary consent or court approval, to purchase a vacation property with his second wife. The trust document, which I have read in full, is not ambiguous. It specifies educational use only. Your client's fiduciary duty was absolute. He violated it. The question before me is not whether a violation occurred, it did. The question is remedy and consequences. He turned to my father. My father sat very still, his face blank. Mr. Hartman, you have 2 options. Option 1. I refer this matter to the Hennepin County Attorney for criminal prosecution under Minnesota Statutes 501c.1201, breach of trust by a fiduciary. That carries a potential felony charge and jail time. Option 2. You agree to a civil settlement that makes your daughter whole, principal, interest, and costs, and we resolve this matter within the divorce proceedings without criminal referral. Silence. My father looked at Tamara. She looked at the table, her jaw tight. No one spoke. The judge continued, his voice even, almost clinical. I am ordering the Lake Superior property sold within 60 days. Proceeds will go first to Ms. Olivia Hartman in the amount of $184,000, representing trust principal, statutory interest at 4.5% annually from the date of conversion, and reasonable legal costs. The remainder, if any, will be subject to equitable distribution per the divorce decree. He looked at Tamara. Mrs. Hartman, you'll note for the record that this property is no longer being treated as a marital asset for division purposes. It was purchased with converted funds. It's tainted. I will not allow either party to benefit from theft, even if one party claims ignorance. Tamara's attorney started to stand. The judge raised one hand. Save it, counsel. Your client admitted on the record that she knew the source of those funds. She doesn't get to benefit from them now. He looked back at my father. Mr. Hartman, if this property is not listed for sale within 60 days, I will appoint a receiver to force the sale. Am I clear? My father's voice was barely audible. Yes, Your Honor. Good. We're adjourned. The gavel came down. My father stood slowly, buttoning his suit jacket. He walked past me without a word, his face gray. Tamara followed, her heels clicking on the tile all the way out the door. Aunt Jeannie met me in the hallway. She didn't say anything. She just pulled me into a hug, and I let myself cry for the first time in weeks, right there in the courthouse corridor while strangers walked past with their own legal disasters. The lake house sold in early September. The market was strong, vacation properties up north were in demand. The buyer paid $420,000 cash, closed in 30 days. After the sale costs, realtor fees, and title work, the check that came to me was exactly $184,000. I received it on a Thursday. I took a photo of it before I deposited it, not out of pride, but out of disbelief. That weekend, I paid off all $45,000 in student loans in one wire transfer. Then I opened a Roth IRA and put in $30,000. The rest went into a high-yield savings account. I didn't buy anything flashy. I didn't go on vacation. I just sat on my couch with a cup of tea and looked at my bank account balance for the first time in my adult life without a knot in my stomach. My father called 4 times that month. I didn't answer. He left voicemails that got progressively more desperate. "Livy, please. We need to talk. You don't understand the whole picture. I was trying to provide for the family. That's what dads do. I can't believe you're doing this to me." I saved every recording. Then I blocked his number. Tamara sent 2 emails. I deleted both without reading. Now, a year later, I work the same unit at the same children's hospital. I still live in the same condo. My morning routine is the same coffee, scrubs, the same drive down 35W. But something is different. I wake up without the weight. I don't flinch when I check my account. I started therapy. I learned that grief doesn't excuse theft, and that love without respect isn't love, it's just control wearing a prettier mask. My mother gave me a gift. And even though it took a decade and a courtroom to claim it, I finally did. She was still protecting me, even from beyond, even through paperwork and legal language and a judge who believed in consequences. If you've ever been the one who stayed silent because you thought that's what family required, I want you to know, the people who truly love you don't steal your future. And when someone does, the paper trail doesn't lie, even when they do. Let me know in the comments if you've ever had to stand up to family, or if you're watching from a place where you're still figuring out how. You're not alone.